Hello, hello. This is the My Artifact episode number 3514. Today's date is 1st of August 2025. It's been almost like a night at 10:03 p.m. Alright, we directly jump into the question. Alright, let's go. Alright, yeah. Okay, you disagree that focusing on money means you can't live life fully. Okay, what exactly is this question, and what is actually meaning of this question? Okay, first of all, is that this question is kind of like something called as a self-analyzing question. You are kind of like simply analyzing yourself regarding about this thing. Okay, like this question specifically regarding about money. Okay, yeah. Now, question is that do you agree that focusing on money, it means you can't fully live your life? Like if you just only focus on your money, you can't live your life. Is it true or not true? If you are really focused in your mind, basically is this thing that if your primary goal is to earn money, then you don't really have any kind of time for anything at all. So do you agree or not? I am agree. Okay, yeah. Like if you are only focusing on just money, then probably you don't really have any time to spend anyone. You don't really live your life fully satisfiedly. Okay, I'm completely agree with this thing. Okay, yeah. But in this particular statement, I mentioned that you are focusing on just on money. Okay, yeah, so that you can earn more. But the definition of being rich is kind of like something very different. Okay, yeah. What is actually meaning of rich? Meaning of rich means having more and more money, right? Okay. So if I want to become rich, that means I wanted to focus on money, right? No, that is wrong. That is wrong. What do you mean by if I wanted to become rich, I need money, na? Right? Yeah. So I should supposedly focus on just on money, right? So then I will be a rich. No, that is not the game, is it, dude? Okay, okay. If you are focusing on just on money, you will definitely not gonna have time for anything at all. Also, you will not gonna be kind of like a richest person, or you will not gonna be rich. You might gonna have earn some sort of amount of money, but you will not consider as a kind of like a something richest person or richer person, or maybe you are not even the rich person because you are mostly focused on just on money. Yeah, then what is actually fundamental things to require to become rich? Okay, yeah. If you wanted to be a rich, or if you wanted to be kind of like a simply rich person, you are not really focusing on money. You are focusing on the value that you will gonna offer to the people, and the people will give you the money. So basically, as a rich person is actually focused on value, not money. Like let's just say Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the richest person, but he's not focusing on money. He's in focusing on value. Like SpaceX. SpaceX is actually kind of like a giving the value for the people that he kind of like a reusable rocket, so that we could kind of like a send more and more satellites, so that the everyday life would be become more easier. Okay, yeah. So Elon Musk is actually offering value like a SpaceX. Elon Musk is actually giving the value Tesla, a electric car, which is kind of like a futuristic car, doesn't really require any fuel or things like that. Okay, so basically, what I'm trying to tell you, rich person is not focusing on money, is actually they are focusing on value. Okay, they actually giving the people a value of some sort of product or service or things like that. And when they value that particular offer, then when they value the particular offer to the people, then they will actually earn money, and then they will become one of the richest person in the world. Okay, yeah. So when they became richest, so that means they have also time to spend which someone loves and things like that, because they are not really focusing on just money, where they are actually focusing on value. And when they create the value, after when they create the value, it became kind of like a sort of very easy. Okay, life became so much easier. Yeah, like basically they will have some sort of work, but not the work that you are kind of like something think it is. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing, if you are only focusing on money, you will not gonna have a time to anything at all. Okay, yeah. So let's just ask this question to myself, what is exactly my opinion? Okay, yeah. Like, do I want to earn money? Yes, I wanted to earn money. Then you might not have any kind of like a simply life. Like, yeah, I wanted to earn money, but I will not gonna kind of like a simply fully focus on money. And as also is this thing, I am not only focusing on money too. Yeah, I wanted to earn money, definitely. Who doesn't wants to earn money? But I wanted to kind of like a create a value, so that I will kind of like a cater that value to the people, and people will actually give me money. That, okay, I'm actually focusing on that. Okay, yeah, to kind of like create something value, so that I would offer this value to the people, and I will gonna earn money. Okay, right? So do I agree with this statement? Yes, I am agree. The person who is actually a bit more focused only on money, then he will not gonna live the life fully as he wanted to be. All right. Okay, yeah. Okay, next question. You haven't written any specific negative beliefs yet. Are you agree or not? Okay, what exactly is this question? You haven't written any specific negative beliefs yet. What is exactly specific negative belief? Specific negative beliefs. How do I? Okay, this statement is kind of like something very confusing for me. You haven't written any specific negative belief yet. Okay, it's a very confusing. So I am gonna ask this question.
The
Wait.
charge GPT appears to be a misspelling of chat GPT. Chat.
Okay, is it recording? Yeah, it's recording. Okay, actually क्या है ना, it's something that ना कि while I was kind of like going to the not ChatGPT, is a Gemini. I'm trying to focusing on Gemini, but Gemini is a kind of like something really fucked up. Okay, yeah. Uh, First of all, suggest me answer of this, and then I will paste. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay, what is exactly ChatGPT mentioned? Okay, yeah. Here the polish through the could be response. You are right. I haven't written down. I am still reflecting to identify the specific negative belief holding me back. I will update as soon as clear, or like this is a question. Suggest me answer. Okay. Alright, you're right. I believe I'm not good enough to succeed. I always fail when I try something new. Other I will more talented than me. Success is only for lucky people, not for someone like me. Oh. Okay. Now I understand this question. Like these questions are kind of like something very tricky to understand. Okay, first of all, what exactly is this question? Okay, let me explain this question very much simplified possibly. Okay, first of all, question is, you haven't written any specific negative belief yet. Okay, yeah. So this question is not about agree or disagree. This question is actually asking you that ki, what is exactly your negative beliefs? Okay, yeah. Do you have any kind of like some very negative beliefs, and what is exactly negative beliefs? A negative belief means like that ki you are kind of like a doubt on yourself. You are kind of like a thinking that ki you might not gonna achieve the things that you are kind of like a simply want to achieve. Another thing is that ki maybe the life is something really unpredictable, or like maybe you're thinking very negative regarding about every point of perspective. So what would be your any kind of like some negative thoughts regarding about, like do you have any kind of like some negative belief regarding about your choice and career and things like that? Do you have that? uh okay, I'm gonna telling the truth. Okay, I'm not really sure. Do I have any kind of like a something, any negative thoughts or things like that? Okay, yeah. But I will do accept that I do have kind of like a, some sort of negative feelings, and I feel those negative feelings at some certain point in my life. Okay, yeah. First of all, is that ki, a couple of days ago, uh, one of my cousin got a job. Okay, yeah, and basically my cousin is actually like a 6 year younger than me. Okay, yeah, and she got a job. She became kind of like a something PO in bank officer. Okay, yeah, I do feel little bit of jealous. Okay, yeah, yes, I accept that I do feel really jealous. Okay, yeah, I realize that ki what is actually wrong. Then I think that ki if I'm feel something really wrong, that I haven't really achieved my goals and things and something like that, and the younger people are getting their jobs and things and they're settling their life and things like that. Okay, yeah, I am little bit worried. Okay, but not really that worried, because I do know my destiny. I do know what I want to become in my life. Okay, yeah, but I was started thinking from my parents point of perspective. What does they think when they heard that ki someone is actually someone at my age got a job, and his son, that means me, I didn't really get a job. So what was they actually affecting them? What was kind of like assembly it affect them? Like a simplified as question is possible. Okay, yeah, like I am trying to think from my parents point of perspective and try to understand how much they feel when their son doesn't really doing in a job, and how much it affect on them. Okay, yeah, they didn't really tell me, but it affect on them. What exactly is this thing? Okay, yeah. So let me explain. Okay, let me explain as simple as possible as you can. Okay, yeah. So basically is this thing that ki you are in classroom. Okay, yeah, and your class teacher is actually giving everyone a kind of like a some sort of candy or some sort of toffee or things like that. Okay, yeah, teacher is actually gave everyone candy, but you didn't really get the candy purposefully. Teacher didn't really give candy. Okay, like they mentioned that no, I will not gonna give the candy. Okay, yeah, and basically is this thing that ki then you are asking question that ki everyone does get the candy, but I didn't really get the candy. You are feeling something left out, that why I didn't really get the candy. What is actually reason? Okay, yeah, you are kind of like somebody doubting yourself, because you are kind of like so afraid to ask your teacher that why you didn't really get the candy. But it's like that na ki you are kind of like doubting yourself that why is this thing only happen with me. Okay, yeah, like another example is, might be you might not resonate with this example. Let's just take another example. Okay, yeah, that key like basically is this thing, the class teacher is actually teaching something. Let's just say thermodynamics. Okay, yeah, you are in the classroom, in the science classroom. Your teacher is actually teaching the thermodynamics. Okay, yeah, but probably the thermodynamics chapter is kind of like a something you can't really understand that topic properly, because way that the teacher is actually explaining and things like that, it's very confusing. You don't really get anything at all. You just nodding that you just getting and things like that. Yeah, you just yeah. And then what is actually happened that ki it just randomly somehow like basically you are kind of like a talking to someone else, like a just like a you are like a basically you are taking a notes. Yeah, let's just say you are taking a notes, and you don't really have pen. Okay, so you are asking pen to someone else. Okay, yeah, that can you get me a pen? Okay, you just ask. In this particular period of time, your teacher caught you and says stand up, and you are so afraid. Oh, okay, yeah, in entire classroom teacher called you stand up. Okay, yeah, and what are you doing? Like, why are you talking with her? Sir, I'm asking just a pen. Oh, asking for pen. Okay, yeah. Okay, so tell me, what is actually thermodynamics? And you are completely blank out. You don't really know nothing really about it, because entire time you just like the entire thermodynamics is kind of like simply going above you and nothing really at all. And when the teacher asks you, tell me about the thermodynamics, tell me about this thing, why the thermodynamics work, tell me about kind of like a simply how the kind of like a thermodynamics law is actually applied in physics and things like that, and you are so confused and everything. No, not just confused, like at that time you might not have confused, you are kind of like simply so scared at that time. Because let me tell you one thing na, ki even if you know the answer, you might not gonna spill the answer, because the problem is that na, ki imagine, put yourself into her shoes. Okay, yeah, into her, like of the person who is kind of like a simply the teacher asked, and that particular student, she's stand up, entire classroom, entire teacher, sorry, entire student, entire person is actually looking at her. Okay, yeah, and she didn't know anything about this thermodynamics world, like she didn't know anything about what is actually the teacher ask, and nothing at all. She was so scared, because like basically might be like this is the first time, like basically she just kind of like a stand up. She was really introvert and things like that, like most of the kind of like a students are really introvert, and you also might gonna feel that thing might be in the when you are a child or things like that. Okay, yeah, and you don't really know anything at all. Then teachers are scold you, teacher are kind of like a tease you, teacher are kind of like a said some sort of wrong stuff to you. You don't know nothing really about this thing, you don't know this and that. The teacher is actually humiliate you in front of entire classroom for very wrong way, and you just feel really bad, like really bad. Okay, yeah, you came home and you are asking question that why me, why always kind of like a some places thing that key, yeah. So this is exactly my father or my parents would think, that key, why does my child is not getting a job and things like that. Like basically this question and the example is kind of like a simply very different than you think it is, but the situation might be kind of like a simply very equal, because the student in the classroom, he or she might be feel kind of like a something very alone and things like that, because like a like a like basically everyone get the candy, she didn't really get the candy. Like a basically everyone knows the answer, but she didn't really know the answer. Okay, yeah, like she became kind of like a something point out finger that key, everyone is looking at me and I didn't really know anything about that. It's a kind of like a something that key, I was became very much focused. It's kind of like a thing that na ki we are humans. Okay, like I'm trying to explain this thing as simple as possible as again. We are human. Okay, yeah, we are social animal. Okay, and what is actually social animal? Social animal means like that ki a human are conditioned in a such a way that we make progress regarding to look at each other. Example, like basically it's this thing that ki your neighbor bought the car, you also want to bought the car. Okay, yeah, your surrounding is actually influence your decision making process, and this is completely somewhat true in somewhere. Okay, yeah, like your friends, each and everyone friends are actually kind of like a simply have a girlfriend, you also want to be kind of like a simply want to girlfriend. Or in your group everyone is kind of like a smoking, then you also want to be kind of like a part of the smoking, because we are social animal. Okay, yeah, our decisions change regarding about how does we get the influence and things like that. All right, so basically is this thing na ki if we do not kind of like a simply be part in that social influence, then we feel left out. Like example is this thing, in your group everyone is actually smoking and you are not smoking, you feel left out. You know all the things that what went wrong when you do smoking and things like that, but when you not smoking you feel left out. You feel something that key, something wrong, something that key, why this thing is actually, yeah. Okay, so this is what kind of like a something is this thing. Okay, yeah, like my parents are also kind of like a thinking that ki each and every kind of like a something, the son or daughter got their job and things like that, but my son didn't really get a job. Like they feel devastated. Okay, yeah, because like basically I know my parents, they are ah oh ah like basically is this thing now, my parents feel very devastated regarding about all those things. Why? Because of that he, like they, like I don't know, but my parents are always think that ki their son would do something much better in his life, and they did lot of things. Okay, like basically I had tuition since 5th standard, legitly 5th standard, and I'm talking about in 2000, like in 5th standard I might in 2003 or 4 maybe. Okay, in 2003 or 2004 I have tuition. Since then, 5th standard, 6th standard, 7th standard, 8th standard, 9th standard, okay, and 10th standard, okay, as also 11th and 12th. Like basically is this thing, they are spending so much amount of money for tuition and things and something like that, so that their child, means me, to become something really good in his life. Okay, yeah, but their son, that means me, till the age of 31 haven't really achieved anything in his life doing his YouTube and things like that, that my parents didn't really understand and things like that. They feel very devastated because they put lot of effort to make their son is so good and something like that, but their son didn't really become that good person. They just, yeah. So basically I was started thinking from my parents point of perspective, and my parents feel so much sad regarding about all the choices that they did, all the things and something like that. Okay, and and when I'm thinking from my parents point of perspective, then I judge myself that ki, dude, you are really wrong person. Like your parents are really good person, dude. Like basically is this thing na ki I am thinking, like basically I'm judging my parents not from as a child point of perspective, but as a kind of like a person point of perspective, other person point of perspective. Okay, yeah, and from other person point of perspective, my parents are really good person, dude. Like basically if I try to imagine myself in their position, I might not gonna do anything at all, literally not. And in the future if I have any kind of like a somebody child, I am not gonna show that much kind of like a somebody compassion or so much that much kind of like a somebody love or things like that towards my daughter or son and things like that, because I don't know. Okay, I am like basically it's this thing, I am selfish, I am accept that thing, I am selfish. I am selfish regarding about my work and things like that. I'm trying to achieve that thing for entire period of lifetime. Okay, that is for sure. Okay, yeah, but is this thing na ki, I don't know, dude, yaar. Okay, yeah, sometimes na you just have to sacrifice in so many levels that sometimes it just kind of like hurt you, sometimes it just like, I don't know, dude, yeah. Okay, yeah, like when I'm thinking from my parents point of perspective, then I judge myself, and then I had so many negative thoughts regarding about me, that ki what I did, like how the fuck. And you just like understand na, dude, I'm 31, almost like like basically in every artifact episode, like basically I'm just like a stuck in here, dude. Okay, yeah, like I came here at 17th of March 2020, and today's date is a 1st of August 2020. It's been almost like a 5 year. I'm still here to achieve something big, and I haven't really achieved anything at all. I know patience will gonna give me prize. I know if I'm put the patience and things like that, it might gonna give me lot of values and things and something like that. I just need to be kind of like focus on what exactly matter for me or not. But dude, like a basically is this thing now, I might gonna feel all those kind of like pressure and things like that. But what about my parents? What about, yeah, like basically is this thing na ki at this moment, whatever the kind of like a something life I will gonna be get something good or not, like I will definitely know that ki my life would be much better in the future. I'm gonna make sure that my parents would be proud regarding about every action that I do, and kind of like assembly. And basically, it's this thing na ki what is exactly one of the biggest happiness for my parents is that ki kind of like a getting me succeed in my life. If I'm really succeed, they will kind of like a get so much kind of like a small happiness and things like that. Can I ask one question? Yeah. Why does your parents are kind of like a think that ki you will gonna kind of like a something like you will gonna do something much better in his life and things? Why does your parents always thinks like that? Like I okay, okay, I am okay, I'm trying to compare, okay, yeah, that ki what does my parents did for myself, okay, as a child, and when I became father of somebody, what would I do to them, okay, yeah, like I'm trying to compare, okay. First of all is that ki um my parents think, okay, yeah, is it wrong? I'm not really sure, but I think it's my from my point of perspective, okay, yeah. Let me tell my hypothesis, okay. It's not I don't know, okay, yeah. One thing is that okay, you can't control someone's life, and you can't change someone's life, even if that person is your child or is your wife or no, nothing really at all. You can't change their life, you can't, like nothing really at all. You might gonna influence their life, you might gonna influence their decision, but you not change their life. No, nothing really at all. Like basically is this thing na ki if I'm gonna say that ki if I had a son or daughter, I'm gonna make sure that my son and daughter will kind of like a something become this person or that person, and for that person I wanted to give the kind of like training and things and something like that, and then my child became that person. Will this possible, or would you do that thing? I will not gonna do that thing. Like basically my parents did. Okay, my parents think that ki as their child means me, I could do something really much better in his life and things and something like that. So since then they realize that ki they just have to kind of like a give them a tuition and things and something like that to be kind of like a better in education, things like that. But none of this thing work. Okay, yeah. So if I have a child, I will not gonna force anything that what they will gonna become. Okay, yeah. Or what they will gonna no nothing really at all. Okay, yeah. I would kind of like simply let her choose her destiny, let them choose their destiny, what they want to become. Yeah, I will gonna give them influence, I will gonna guide them regarding about kind of like something whatever the life experience that I had, and I'm gonna tell them that okay, what is actually life, what how do I supposed to live the life as better as possible as you can. Okay, yeah. But I will not gonna tell them what they will gonna become. Okay, one thing. Also another thing, I also not gonna expect anything from my child and things like that, because my parents are really accepted things from me that I would become something really bigger person or not. And when that acceptance didn't really fulfill, then that sadness came, then that kind of like something all those things came. I will not gonna expect anything from my child that what they will gonna become. Okay, yeah, nothing at all. Whatever their life, their choices, they have to decide what they want. I will not gonna interfere anything at all. One thing, another thing. Okay, in my life, I might not gonna have a time to spend with my family. Probably I would have, but one of the important thing is that key for me, work is my first utmost priority. Okay, yeah. And then another thing is that key after the work, love and relationship, these are kind of like simply my second priority. All right, yeah. So possibly if I have a kind of like a simply daughter, or if I have possibly a son or daughter, I would not a kind of like a um, something really became her or his father, or I would not gonna take the responsibility as a father of my child. What the fuck are you saying, dude? You will not gonna take the responsibility as a father? Like, are you fucking serious? Like okay, yeah, you don't really understand me as well. Okay, yeah, I would definitely call myself as a father. Yeah, from societal point of perspective. Okay, yeah, but okay, yeah. Oh, let me explain. Okay, what would I do? What, like, I was kind of like thinking from variable point of perspective, and what is at least this thing. I'm gonna marry such a person that I will gonna talk, and I will gonna talk about every possible scenario regarding about what would be life and things or something like that. Okay, yeah. At this moment, means 1st of August 2025, at almost like a night at 10:35 p.m. Okay, yeah. This is what I'm kind of like a thing that what will gonna happen. I'm predicting future somewhat somewhere. One future is really sure that ki I have lot of work, and I might gonna have so much busy regarding about every possible scenario and things like that. One thing. So because of this thing, I might not gonna have a time, but I will gonna kind of like simply spare some sort of time to spend with family and love and things like that. Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that ki when I will have kind of like a father, when I will have kind of like a son or daughter, I will not gonna kind of like a somebody kind of like a somebody pursue as a kind of like a somebody father or things like that, because I will gonna talk with my wife, and basically she will become mother as well as father. Okay, like she will kind of like actually perform a role, mother as well as father. I will not gonna kind of like a perform any kind of like a role, not a mother, not a father, no nothing at all. Okay, I will gonna perform a something really very different role. Okay, I'm gonna perform as a kind of like a somebody a teacher, or any kind of like a somebody a influencer, or like basically I'm gonna kind of like a guide. Like I'm actually guiding them to my child that what they will gonna become. Okay, yeah, dude, you are not kind of like a somebody take the responsibility of father. That is a really fucked up shit, dude. like like why do you call yourself as a kind of like you are not should supposed to be has a kind of like authority to call your father, or kind of like a somebody get a child or things like that, because you are not accepting the responsibility as a father. No. Okay, okay, what is exactly father? Okay, yeah, like basically is this thing. Tell me the what is actually responsibility of father. What would be a father could kind of like a somebody provide to their child and things like that? Money, protection. I am gonna offer that thing. I will gonna have so much amount of money, and I will gonna offer the protection and everything possible point of perspective too. Okay, yeah. As well as what kind of like a somebody like a basically be emotional bond and things like that. No, I don't know, dude. Yeah, I'm maybe I'm completely wrong, or maybe I'm not kind of like a something sounds so not right at the moment. But this is what I think it is. I would not perform a role as a father to my child. I would as a perform as a kind of like a teacher, or as a friend to my kind of like a child, so that they will kind of like share me every detail, so that I would kind of like guide them every point of perspective. I will gonna talk with my daughter regarding about when they had a period, when they had a kind of like somebody's first time they had a sex. I will gonna guide them how to perform the sex. I will also perform them how to what kind of like a somebody they should supposed to do when this kind of like a thing happened. I also tell them what exactly emotional intelligence happened, like when you like someone else, what exactly you are expecting, things like that. I don't know. How do I supposed to do that thing? Or maybe it's just like I'm gonna kind of like a simply be a friend of my child, not as a kind of like a father. Okay, and even if I'm kind of like so much angry regarding about my son and daughter, I would probably calm them, and I would kind of like consider myself that I am not their father, or I'm not their thing. So basically, I am not allowed to shout out them, or I'm not allowed to yell at them. My wife has a kind of like a role. She could yell them. She could yell them. She could kind of like shout at them. She could do anything. Okay, but I will not. I didn't really have authority to anything do at all. I'm kind of like act as a friend, act as a teacher. I'm kind of like a let them guide that what will kind of like somebody like they should supposed to do in their life. Okay, so why I'm kind of like only telling, dude, it's just like really fucked up shit, na, dude. It's like okay, I am gonna accept this thing that you are gonna be do as a kind of like a teacher, as a teacher, you are gonna perform as a teacher, you are gonna perform as a friend and things like that. But being a father is really essential, na, dude. Like basically think about your child point of perspective, na. Okay, yeah, they realize that they have a father, but they don't really have a father. Like how the fucked up shit, dude. Like basically is this thing having a father at the same time they didn't really have any father. Okay, so you just imagine that like basically you don't really have father. How would you feel that you don't really have father? Like yeah, it felt really wrong. Yeah, it felt really wrong. Yeah, like if I started imagine that if I don't really have any father, then I yeah, it like basically is this thing, father influence is something very different, yeah, in child things and something like that. So are you consider that you are not taking the responsibility of father? Like is this so fucked up shit, dude? And basically you are taking all the responsibility to your wife, and you are expecting from your wife that she could do all the kind of like a possibility role as a mother and a father. And what the fuck would you do as a teacher, as a student, as a are you fucking do you realize what the fuck are you saying right now? uh oh, okay, like basically this thing that what are you kind of like saying that like like you will not gonna spend any time with your child as a kind of like somebody as a father, or what?